Greetings. Welcome to the Captive Desk. And please join me in welcoming Ryan to the Captive Desk. You may know him as BlasterMaster. Welcome, Ryan.
Thank you.
And I had Ryan on because Ryan and I were in a chat the other day, and he was mentioning that he had met a whole bunch of apologists, and I was like, my ears perked up, and I was like, I'd like to hear those stories. So he said, I've got lots of stories. So I said, all right, cool. So thought we'd hear some of Ryan's stories about meeting some of these apologists and a little bit about himself too. So yeah, Ryan, why don't you take a couple minutes here and give us a little background on yourself. Were you raised in a religious environment and up to going to this church we were talking about?
Yeah, thanks for having me, first of all. And hi, everyone in chat.
Glad to have you.
Probably know most of you, or I've at least talked to you in the side chat before. I've been around YouTube for a long time. And, I guess, I would start, my childhood, both my parents were from Montana, and they had a lot of siblings, so large families. And I guess it was interesting because I don't think my father was super religious ever. And my mom was mostly the person in the family that was religious. And she worked at when I was a kid, she worked at a Lutheran school when after we left Montana. My dad was going to dental school in Portland for a while. And my mom was working at a religious Bible school, teaching kindergarten and preschool and stuff. I think she taught third grade and seventh grade before that, prior to that. And then we once my dad got his degree in dentistry, we moved to Moscow, Idaho, which was a lot more religious than I thought a small town could be. There were lots of religious people in the town and all over the place. There's a local cult. A lot of people know Doug Wilson is. If you don't know who Doug Wilson is, he's a famous what's the term? Sorry, I'm drawing a blank here, but sorry, give me a second here. Doug Wilson was he ran a school called Logos School was what it was originally called, and then he built a community called a college downtown, which violated the local town's district coding anyway, but he did it anyway. He bought up all the property around there. They own half the businesses in the town, at least, probably. It's kind of frightening, downtown especially. But they're a form of Calvinism, right?
Okay.
And he has a blog online. I think last time I checked, he has over 200,000 subscribers to his blog. So he's not unpopular, right? And that wasn't the main influence on me, but that's just something to point out. The environment that I grew up in, that was within the town that I grew up in, that was there. But I also grew up on there was another large church in town that was it was a Church of the Nazarene, and it was kind of like a mega church, basically. They could seat 1,500 people easily. And we had I was a part of the band. We had orchestras and stuff that we put on. We put on passion shows. You know what those are? During
Easter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Easter and stuff like that. And I was always in the band playing my saxophone along with that stuff. It was a big orchestra, basically, and I was part of the orchestra. The youth pastor from the church, my dad let him move into the property next door to us that my father owned. So the youth pastor literally lived next door to me on my dad's property. So I had to mow his lawn and be his right hand man at youth group, because when he went to youth group, I was just supposed to travel with him. Anytime there was anything going on with the youth group or anything, I was super involved with that. And the church had a lot of money, and they invited apologists from all over the world. I've met from Kent Hovind, Ken Ham, just like the creationist side. Kent Hovind, Ken Ham, the Banana Man, Ray Comfort. I've met. I want to say like Lee Strobel.
I hope you appreciate the background.
Yeah.
I was like, I need a background, and I was like, oh, he mentioned the
Man.
Banana Man. I gotta have bananas.
It's the atheist. It's checkmate atheist, right? Come on.
The atheist nightmare. Yeah.
The banana and the crocodile.
The crocodile.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, these. Frank Turek was an often visitor, and who else? William Lane Craig on the other side of the fence, right? So you have all these like young Earth creationists, and then I also had just not young Earth creationists too. And it was really bizarre. Like that's kind of what I saw this happening when I was 12 years old, and I was like, okay, what the hell is going on? Because they're not agreeing. They don't even agree with each other. And, it doesn't make much sense.
And Ken Ham does not like William Lane Craig much at all.
No, exactly. They all disagree with each other fundamentally too.
Well, do you know? Do they get paid well for coming there?
Oh yeah. And my dad was smart. He had his dental office was on the same block as the church, right? And he would that's how he made money through the church. He would just he would do dentistry for those people for free and shit. Just was like, he'd be like, yeah, come on over. I'll fix up that tooth of yours right there tomorrow, before you leave town, come by and I'll just do it for free. And he would. Because my dad was kind of a philanthropist too. Like my dad set up the first dental clinic for homeless people in New York City, which was kind of awesome. Cool. So that was one thing that my dad died in 2001, which was in a plane crash. It was kind of tragic, but besides the point. But but before that, he was kind of philanthropist, and I went to New York and with him and worked in the building that he was doing this. He set up the dental clinic. It was crazy. It was going from North Idaho to New York City is pretty traumatic for a teenager, right?
And you were saying your father wasn't really religious, right?
No. I mean, he did. Back then, he may have confessed belief, but I don't think he was super religious at all.
Really. He was just more of a humanist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I think he viewed it as. More of and the church, because it was the largest church in town, it was why not go there if you're the local dentist on the same block, because it's automatic clientele, And he did good work. My dad was the chairman for the board of dentistry for the Northwest. He wasn't a joke or anything,
So when they came, you noticed the different stories, and were you a believer at this time? Or?
Yeah, I was. I mean, well, when you grew up in it, right? You're kind of trained to believe in it. You don't think that your parents are lying to you. You're convinced of it because that's all you know, right? And all your friends are believers. All your friends' parents are believers. Everyone you know is a believer. And it was before the internet, right? It was in the 80s and the 90s, early 90s. There was no internet. I was born in 1980, so that I think that changes things a little bit. And that's what happened for me is once the internet was there for me, I was I'm not turning back kind of thing. you know. But I think it would be beyond the internet though. Like, in like, let's see here. Where should I go with this? Well,
I was
so I went.
pre-internet. I was
Yeah,
pre-internet.
yeah, you were
I tell
pre-internet
people
too.
we had to find apologists that were on flatbed trucks in parking lots. You know,
Yeah, and pre-internet was a different era. I think. Like, I don't, I don't know if a lot of kids will understand that even. If they watch this video. But I think I left like that was like the start of my deconversion. You know what I mean? As a teenager, and I think I kind of the church was like very controlling. And they tried to tell me who I could date, who I should be in love with, that sort of thing. And I was not interested in them telling me what I should do at all. Because why is that any of their business? Who I choose to love? Like, that's ridiculous, And
so did you buy? Did you have a lot of their books and everything when they were or
oh
materials and stuff
well,
handed out? Or
I mean, I had to go to their damn sermons in person, right? All those people. I don't necessarily. I think my parents had some of the books and stuff. I was kind of religious books that I have to read, like Og Mandino. You ever heard of that? Have of that? It's kind of more of like a salesman kind of pitch to Christianity, you know, kind of having to do with like the Dead Sea Scrolls, things like that. It's not very compelling. It sounds cool when you're a kid, but
now what about the youth pastor? Was he trying to keep you in, or
they did. They tried to keep me in for a long, long time, but they they pushed me away, by trying to control me. And I think once I had my own vehicle, I had a job, I was pretty independent as a teenager. I worked at the movie theater. You know, they weren't stopping me from watching media, anything like that. Um, I was pretty free. I remember we collected magic cards, and I was in like a couple. I would do like magic tournaments with my friend. Like, it was didn't go to the church, of course, right? But I remember there was like a satanic panic kind of in the '90s. I don't know if you remember that, but
it's still going on? They're
yeah,
just targeting. They just have new targets like
yeah, it's trans people now, not
trans
magic
people and
cards.
cartoon characters and M&Ms and it just it and we were just talking, and what it
Hey,
is,
Dave,
as
I'm
soon as
gonna
it
still listen. I just need to use the restroom real quick. I'll
right.
be right back though. It's just right here.
Yep. We were just talking the other day that they keep switching it all the time because otherwise it kind of like loses its flair or something, so they have to keep targeting because they're looking for the enemy. They have to have the enemy. So if the enemy is candy, if it's cartoons, if it's social issues, whatever it is, they have to always have an enemy they're setting up. And without it, I don't think a lot of them would know what to do, and they wouldn't be selling books. And I just seen
You know,
Owen was covering Greg Locke. He's over talking with Benny Hinn now, so he can do exorcisms on people. So he's
yeah.
he's branching out, right?
I just remember finding it so damn boring. As a teenager, I would like volunteer in the nursery just to get out of going to church. You know what I mean? I'd be like, I want to play my saxophone. And then after the music session, that's when all the kids go to the nursery, and I would just like follow the kids to the nursery. I'm like, that way I can just not have to listen to the freaking pastor drone on about the same thing that I've heard 12 different times already. You know? like, Like I remember at one point my parents they would get so mad at me. It was a big church, so I could hide. I would be like hide in the pews. I'd be like, no, I was hiding in the pews over here. I was like over on this side in the back corner. You didn't see me, you know. But I remember I would just go into the bathroom and then just like wait and then just like walk out of church and just go to the park and just sit and go to the grocery store and buy an orange juice and a donut and sit in the park and play on my Game Boy just to get out of,
What
you know.
my brother and I skipped a couple times. Yeah, we got dropped off, and it wasn't too far away. So yeah, we just went in one door and out the other, and
Yeah, I don't like being told what to do. I never have.
but
And
I did honor my mother, and I went through confirmation. So
yeah, you were saying that
that
earlier.
was in 8th grade for us. So
Yeah.
once that was done, my mother never pressured me to go back or anything.
So
But that was about it. Was 8th grade. So
once I left, once I kind of got out of the church, I you know it was like a slow deconversion. I don't think I fully deconverted once I left the church. I was still like a believer. I just thought, hey, these people are bad Christians. Like maybe there is a God. All these people that I'm around can't be wrong, right? Like all these people that I trust in my life can't all be wrong, can they? You know.
well, the
And
the joke is 45,000 denominations can't be wrong, right?
right, right,
So there is a lot, like you said, there's a lot of confusion and a lot of they like to blame everybody but themselves, but there's with all the confusion and with all the other top issues of why people are leaving, they don't seem to be helping themselves at all because those are the very things that they target. People leave
yeah,
because they don't like targeting their LGBTQ friends,
yeah. So
so that they
like
push even harder on it. And it's
that's kind of
like,
what happened to me. Like my parents pushed really hard on me. They pushed the religion. The It got to the point where it was like almost physically abusive. You know what I mean? And I pushed back too hard, I guess. I mean, I don't think it was too hard, but I got my parents basically kicked me out of the house when I was like 15 because I stood up to my dad that was trying to assault me. It was, you know, like, and that's what happened. And
I think a lot of us have had confrontations in our teen years, a lot of hormones running, and
it wasn't me.
you start to think you know it all, and I have a
Nah.
few problems with my dad. Sadly, though, the last time I talked to my dad wasn't on good terms, and I never spoke to him again, and he passed
Yeah,
away.
I did
So
make up with my dad after all that. Once
yeah,
my parents
if
divorced,
you can talk to
my
your
parents
parents, even if you
divorced.
don't agree, yeah, just at least talk to
Once
them.
my parents split up, it was fine. Like that was like the stress was coming from them being together. You know.
Yeah. Mine got
And
divorced, but it wasn't until I was older, so it wasn't really ever an issue
yeah,
growing up. We always had family time and all that stuff. So
it was hard for me because I was 17 and then I had a younger brother and sister that were 5 years and 7 years younger than me. So they were just babies, kind of, I mean, just teenagers or barely teenagers, right? And I felt obligated to like kind of help them through all that. It was very difficult. It was very, very difficult. And then my mom started dating this fucking like psychopath from the church. She met a nice guy.
not from the church.
Yeah, he has his
Say it
own
isn't
Dateline
so.
episode.
Oh no.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh no. Yeah.
yeah. Charles Capone. Go look it up, people. That's my mom's ex-boyfriend. 10 years.
Yikes.
Yeah, that was. I had left the country because of him. After
Why
my dad
why
died, I
time
I
after
moved in
time
next
there?
door to my mom to be next to my brother and sister, And he harassed me so much that I just fled the country with my wife because I thought he wanted to kill me.
Oh
And I
man,
was like, the
because
safest
a
thing
lot
we
of
can do
folks
is
have
just
had,
leave.
yeah, a lot of folks have had problems. Owen at Telltale talks about he
Well,
had to move because
hmm one
the
of
whole
my one
town
of
just kind
my
of disowned him.
dreams one of my dreams had always been to, yeah, my mom basically disowned me during this. After my dad died, she disowned me because I turned to get, because I said I don't trust your boyfriend, like he's doing XYZ. She was like, no, he's a man of God, he would never do those things, he's reformed. It was always the argument, you know and clearly not. But if I left to Korea with my wife, because she teaches English as a second language at the time. She had a degree in
Yeah,
ESL, right?
yeah, I was going to
We
ask you
eloped.
how.
We eloped. We eloped and
I was
then
going to
left to
ask you
South
about,
Korea.
yeah, it was in one of your videos you had up, some about it being in Korea. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, we
what
eloped,
was that like?
and South Korea is great. We lived there for a year, and then we came back for a year and a half, and went back for another year. And so we went there in 2008, and then back again in 2010. But it was, I love Korea, and I had so much fun there. I made so many good friends from like all over the world. I'm sure someone will probably see this. They'll be like, "Hey, that's my buddy from Korea. What up, dude?
Hey, what's going on? Yeah.
Come by." I'm like, "Come back." That's what you do in Korea. Cheers, right? I
Absolutely.
did get a black belt in Hapkido while I was over there. I had studied martial arts most of my life. That was one thing that my parents did let me do. That was good. You know what I mean? I
When I
I
had
probably.
when I had Jim Hall on, he did mixed martial arts,
Mhm.
and he did some competitions and stuff. Yeah.
Yep, yep, yeah. I got first place when I trained for my black belt in Korea, out of like 600 or 700 people.
Yeah, I had some friends that did it, in our youth and that, but I was just never into it. But we always liked watching Bruce Lee movies and everything.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. I love Bruce Lee. Yeah, my instructor in Korea is like, he's a drill sergeant. He teaches Taekwondo over there, and then he's basically ranked third in Hapkido, which is what they teach the special forces over there. Like, there's a Korean sword master, the number one guy in Hapkido. He's like the sword master all, as well, and he's like a living samurai, basically. My buddy, my instructor, which became my best friend while I lived in Korea, he would take me like drinking with this samurai dude, and I'm like, bro. I'm like, can I even like smoke a cigarette in front of this guy without him being pissed? He's like, no, man, it's fine. You're with me. You're good. I'm like, okay. I was like, I just don't want him to like offend him, because like he has a flat top, like, he's in, like, he'd tell me horror stories about him beating his students and shit. I'm like, I do not want to mess with this dude. My wife like had met him a couple times too, because when I was getting tested, like through my yellow belt, red belt, or whatever, through the belt test, he would be there to grade me, right? And then at the black when I was getting my at the black belt thing, he like smiled at my wife while they're crossing the hallway. She's like, I didn't know who the hell he was, because he
now,
smiled at me.
what's and what's it like over there socially? Do they worry about North Korea and all
No,
the
dude. Like,
tensions and
North Korea
stuff?
is a joke. Like, it's a joke to them.
No,
I
yeah,
mean,
is it?
honestly, they do worry about like spies and stuff. Like,
Hmm.
when I was living there, I made some good friends. I had a friend that owned a club. It was like a pool hall, right? And like these two dudes approached me one day, and they were like, "Hey, you see those two girls over there? If you go drink with them, they'll pay for your drinks." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" I look at the bartender, and I'm like, "What? Are these guys for real?" And she's like, "Yeah, just go talk to the girls and see what's up. You'll see what's going on. Just go talk to the girls. It'll be fine. They just want to like hang out and dance with you and drink and talk to you." And I was like, "Okay." So I go over and start talking to the girls. I'm like, "Well, whatever, free drinks, right?" And I go start talking to the girls, and they're from North Korea. They're like defectors, and those were their bodyguards approaching me, being like checking me out. They asked the bartender about me. She's like, "Yeah, he's my friend. You know, he's cool. He checks out. You know, he's not a fucking spy. You know, not a Russian or North Korean spy, basically, right? Which is what you have to worry about in South Korea. And but they have to have bodyguards because there are sympathizers and there are spies that want to kill like people that immigrate back to South Korea. It's very scary. Like, I don't think that most South Koreans look at it as, hey, I have family in North Korea. This isn't, it's just like a political thing, right? And I think the reason it hasn't been solved is, well, the reason it wasn't solved before they had nukes was money. Because how do you re-educate an entire population without a shitload of money? There's 50 million people in North Korea, maybe? I don't know. Maybe it's not that big. Maybe it's like 30, 20 million? Still, it's a large enough population. How do you re-educate an entire population, right? That's completely brainwashed to follow like a dictator. They literally wake up in the morning and sing songs that, you know, that pray. Do you know what Juche is? It's like the Korean like religion, basically the North Korean religion, where you know the North Korean leaders basically make the sunrise.
Well, that's what Hitchens said when they compare some of these countries and make them atheistic, and he says they use the same tactics as the religions do. It's just somebody else. So yeah, you've got dear leader in North Korea, but it's all the same thing.
And they have supernatural powers and all
don't blaspheme and everything, or he's going to get you, right? You've been any other countries you've been to then?
I've been to Ireland. That was fun.
Have you?
Yeah, went to Ireland in 2001 for St. Patrick's Day. That was before 9/11. My brother smuggled weed in his shoe because he was an idiot. And I slapped him over the head for it because he was like 15 at the time, right? I think I was 19. Something like that. And I was like, I took it from him and rolled joints and smoked them with the locals all week.
So what about your family now? Are they still religious, or
my mom is? I'm pretty
converted
sure
back and forth. Or
yeah, that's funny. My brother is not. My brother and I are both atheists. My sister, I think, she's at the in between stage still. You know what I mean? I think she denounced Christianity for the most part because she saw the harm that came from it. When you deconvert, it's pretty hard, especially when you're. For me, it was difficult because I deconverted before anyone else in my family had, and I was like the first one to come out of it. And I think I got a lot of flack for it. That was like probably the hardest things, and like the community, like realizing that your entire community that you trusted they were all full of shit. They were wrong. They're mistaken. There's some of them, they can still be good people. Like, I'm still friends with a lot of those people, and I don't hold it against people if they're religious or not. I think that's part of like you got to move past the pain, and like start over, get a fresh start at some point. It's kind of like
when I was growing up, it was the thing to do. You picked a church to go to. And that's
right.
when we moved onto the other side of town, that's what my parents did. They found this church, and then that became our church. And that's that's what you did. But I was telling Ryan before we started, though, I was always lucky. It was a progressive church. I'm in a moderate area, even though it's kind of red in the rest of the state. My parents took us to church, but they didn't push, anything, right? So, I always had it. I never had any of the difficulties a lot of other people's face,
Yeah.
and you do have my sympathies,
Dude, Dave, just
but
the other day, man, some guy, like, there was an apologist. I was talking to an apologist online, and he was like, "Oh, it's so much harder to be a Christian than it is to be an atheist." I was like, what? Like, on what planet do you live on? And like,
unless you
how
want to
can
run
you?
for office.
Why would you say that unless you like want to alienate like a quarter of your audience if they're not believers? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. And then
like because
Jesus said he why do you eat with the sinners and everything? And he says because something about like I'm the doctor, and I go to
well,
the
for
people
me,
that
being
need
a
it.
yeah,
you're,
identifying as a
you're supposed to
Christian
go
would
to
have been
them. Yeah.
so much damn easier. That would have been the easy route. That would have been the easier because I could have been like, "Hey, this psychopath over here is doing all this stuff, and you guys believe me because I'm a man of God, right? Too. That's why they didn't believe me over the psychopath that's serving life in prison now, right? Like my mom's ex that has his own Dateline episode. That freaking bastard." That's a whole nother story, dude. You should have me on so we can just talk about him because that is a crazy story. If you want to hear that,
Dateline
like,
3.0.
Yeah, dude. I'll tell you like the actual details. Like nobody knows what actually happened. They're like, there's never been a comprehensive documentary of that. I saw the Dateline shit. It's not. It doesn't describe any of the actual shit that happened at all.
And there's
It's very vague.
pragmatics here, and
I should probably
pragmatic.
sell
Just so
that
you
shit. Is
know,
what I should do.
your order shipped. So I got the notification.
You bought a shirt or something?
We had a little giveaway on my on the
Nice.
Grassman show.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Grassman show.
Yeah, Trees and I do the Grassman Chronicles. That's our cryptid show
Mm-hmm.
that we're doing once a month. So
Do you know Bree then? Is that
yep.
what you're talking about? Oh, you do
Bree,
going on with Bree. Okay, yeah.
Yep. Bree and I have done a couple things together. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Bree's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, you can I did a movie review with her, and then she was on my show last week as a co-host, but the power went out. Things kind of got interrupted, but yeah,
that's
she's
kind of
awesome.
like how I found like the skeptic community on YouTube is like living abroad and deconverting at the same time. And I had when I was in South Korea, I was deprived of like entertainment. Half the stuff's on TV is in Korean, you know. I mean, there were some entertaining shows. Don't get me wrong, because you get.
Well,
like
you were saying they've got an interesting mix there with the Buddhism and the Christianity. They've kind of
Oh yeah. They blend that,
they have
right?
their own blend, right?
Yeah.
So what's that
like
like?
half the okay. So like if you're getting married, you go and have your Christian wedding with all your friends and family, everyone Christian marriage at like the local like they have like big buildings where they just have they have pump out weddings all weekend long, and they have like a wedding like a food buffet and shit, and you just go down there and they just pump that shit out constantly. You go and do that. You sign up for that shit and you go do that. But then you have your little private Buddhist wedding with your close family, right? And you do that separately from your Christian wedding. So they just kind of blend it like that. And beyond that, they're just like, whatever. Like, I mean, and that's very like Buddha. I don't think Buddhism really like conflicts with any other religion. Like, honestly, it doesn't.
Well, I often say
In my
that
opinion.
the Eastern religions seem to be more inclusive, even if you aren't a member.
Mm.
Where the opposite is true with the Western religions. That
like
you're with
I
us or against
practiced
us.
I practiced Tai Chi Quan for I trained under a Tai Chi master for like 10 years. And from age 17 till 25, so 8 years. But she taught me for free the whole time. Like once a week, I'd meet up with her. She's like, "You're my best student, and I teach you all my knowledge." And man, I would trip balls, dude, doing Tai Chi. Like literally, I'd just be meditating and like having like visions and stuff in my mind.
Sober?
She had, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, completely sober visions.
It's just a point to make that people talk about, people having experiences, and it's like, but
No, I can
non-religious
induce
people
this. Yeah,
without drugs or anything else can have
no,
experiences too. So
I have
I
done
don't
it so
deny the
much that
experience. Yeah.
I can induce this sort of experience in other people. Like I use it as like a party trick. They're like, you can see it, it's purple. And they're like, what the hell? You know,
How's
just
your
power of
aura,
suggestion,
Dora?
man. Yeah, you just
How,
have to
how's
suggest
your
stuff
aura?
into the people's mind, and the our minds are easily manipulated. You know?
Well, that's what I was going to say. That's what the apologists use,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like so.
I'd say the
What is
martial art, the Tai Chi, like unbrainwashed me. You know what I mean? All the meditation and all the like stretching and stuff like that, it just unbrainwashed me. I could not be brainwashed anymore after that. Like I didn't want to be brainwashed in the first place, but that definitely like and then living abroad, getting out of your comfort zone. Like I think that anyone that feels like they want to live abroad or like they want more to this world than what they're offered, they should go live abroad for a year or two and they'll definitely grow up from that. Like that'll help you. It definitely won't hurt, you know.
so
There's all
then?
types of people too.
So then about the apologists then when the apologists come through, was it doing their usual shtick, or were they there to do a sermon,
Oh
or
yeah, you get the sermons and the
what's it
usual
like? Yeah.
shtick, and then you get like the personal, like they want to sell you something, you know. They want to sell you their book. They want to sell you on this idea. I remember Ken Ham and William Lane Craig. Like those two were very. It would be like Ken Ham would visit, and then like a month later, William Lane Craig would show up, and I would be like listening to William Lane Craig, just sitting there like for like the sixth time. You know, I've heard him in the last 2 years, and I'm just pounding my head into the wood, going, "It's the same shit you said 2 years ago. Nothing's changed."
The Kalam argument.
Yeah, yeah. Here's the Kalam cosmological. I mean, seriously though, like, oh,
Bill
it
is
is
looking
so boring.
a little rough these days.
He's aged. Yeah, I
He's
can feel
showing
that.
his
But
age really
you
bad.
know,
Yeah.
he's probably one of the more honest apologists out there.
I
Honestly,
I
like,
I will give him credit sometimes because he will say things like he doesn't buck up against mainstream science. So if
yeah,
science
yeah,
says how old the universe is, how old mankind is, he just says okay, but
yeah.
in there is
He's
still
the
God.
post hoc
So
rationalist expert.
mm,
Like, he's gonna
yeah,
solve it all.
he Bill knows how to uh, impress the audience by using a lot of big words.
But you
But
know what,
if you
man?
take
My
notes,
wife, my wife.
he's not really saying all that much.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm like, I married a linguist, and he's not that impressive to me anymore.
Hmm.
Just gonna say, you know what I mean?
I, I literally took notes uh, because
I'm not impressed.
yeah, you have to get out. I'll admit, I had to get out a thesaurus and a dictionary and look some of this stuff up because he uses a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
big words.
yeah.
And yeah, I'll admit I'm not well educated on all the linguistics or whatever you want to call it. But if you
It's
take the
like
time, yeah,
they
he's
have their
not
secret
saying much.
language, man. They have a secret language, and so that's sort of like another thing I was going to talk about. Like, once I came back from Korea, I found that like once I deconverted, like I just wanted to argue with people. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And like people that I like my mom and things, people that I actually cared about. But I just want to argue with them about religion because they would bring it up first. Not necessarily my fault that I would argue against them.
You brought
But
it up.
yeah, I'm like, they're like, hey, you want to pray about this? And I'm like, fuck no, I'm not praying. Like, like, no, stop putting your hands on me. I'm not your, like, like, stop that. Like,
Yeah,
no.
there was a few people in the family
They're
that
like, let me just lay my hands on you and pray for you. No,
yeah
thank you.
went through
Please don't
things, but
fucking do that.
yeah, like again, I haven't. I've had a few people, say things about praying or something, but generally, it's like, no, no thanks or whatever. It's not that
Yeah,
big
but
a
some
issue,
people are really persistent, especially if it's a family member and they
Yeah,
just like insist on it every. Well, my mom had this like really weird ability to bring up God every 30 seconds, like,
depends the
and most
context.
of the
God
time,
dang it!
and I
God
just
dang
got
it!
to the point when I was
God
like,
dang
hey,
it!
look, I just don't care. I don't care if what you believe, just don't try and push it on me, you know? And then so
And
she
that's
took
it's a
that as,
simple.
oh, so
Yeah,
your
that's
wife is free game then. She
it's
would
a
after
simple.
she starts doing it to my wife in front of me, and I'm like, no.
It's a
Like,
simple
no.
concept. It's like, hey, you do your thing, and other people should
Yeah.
be able to do
We can
their
have a
thing. And then
peace.
it's
We
like,
can reach a
I don't know
deal. It's like,
what's so hard to understand about that. But
hey, keep your dick in your pants, and it's not going to be a problem. Nobody cares if
well,
you have one. Just don't go whip it out.
just
Start
just
waving it
just
around.
just maybe
Let's just see
take
that
care
shit.
of that mantra once in a while so you're not grouchy. Okay.
Mm. Seriously though, no one wants to see it. That's why I tell these apologists. They're
Yeah.
like, I went out street preaching, and these people are so angry.
Oh
I'm like,
man.
bro, keep it in your pants, man.
Now
Like, seriously.
speaking of street preaching, the Banana Man.
Ray
He's
Kilgrave.
probably the most famous for sticking a microphone in people's faces and just interrupting
He's
their
kind of
time
off. He blocked
at the
me for saying
beach or
bullshit on
anything.
his channel.
Uh, do you remember when he started the atheist channel and he was inviting everybody on?
Yeah.
And I said, why don't you just block me now on the first day? So I
Mm-hmm.
said, all right. So I'll play by the rule. He had simple rules like
No, he loves
no
the balls.
cussing,
Yeah.
and you had to capitalize God and Jesus, right? And it's like, okay, I'll play along, right?
I just have no
He
filter,
shows up
man.
on my page one day and he noticed something Buddhist I had posted, and he told me meditate on this, and he blocked me, and it was like he could I was like, what do you
AR, he is
what
awful.
the hell is wrong
He's
with
not.
you?
I don't think. I was saying this to the person I was just visiting a friend of mine earlier, and I was just saying that I was talking about coming on the show, and I was like, I was trying to explain to him. I was like, I've met a bunch of apologists, and I think he wants to talk about that. And I was like, I don't think any of them are really honest with themselves or other people around them. Like, I don't think they actually believe at all. Like, hardly any of them. Like, I think most of them like are, if they do believe, they believe in like a vague version of God, not the God of the Bible, and they
I
just
had
find that as a
I
good
had
way to make money, and they have no other way of making money, and that's what they do.
I had Seth on that he worked at the Ark. He worked for Ken Ham,
Yeah,
and
yeah, I
he
don't
had
think
a
he
similar
believes any
opinion
of
that
this shit.
he doesn't think a lot of them believe that stuff all the
No,
way
no,
up,
no,
some
they
of the
don't.
bigger names
They
that
don't.
it's just what they do, and it's easy money, and
Yeah, exactly.
maybe there's some way
They're just
they
grifters, man.
excuse
They're
it
grifters,
that
right?
most of them are, or there's if it's lying for
They tell
Jesus, it's
themselves
okay.
they're not grifters. Yeah, they're trying to save your
If
soul. They
if
have
you're
some
doing it for
sort of belief where
Jesus, Yep,
Yeah,
you're gonna get a get out of jail free card. So
yeah, that's what they think.
I think, and as far as like I say, I don't make it personal with a lot of people because
Well,
people get the bad information or they grew up
I'm
with this
motivated by
creationist
like
stuff. But
activism. Like I think activism is a good thing, right? So like when I was a teenager and the home in Moscow, Idaho, for some reason they like to prosecute a bunch of like Earth Firsters. Do you know? You remember? Have you ever heard of the Earth First movement? They're basically like
maybe
they sabotage like high like they did a lot of shit. Apparently, they've been around since the early '70s, I guess.
oh, kind of like a radical green group.
Yeah, they think that like the national forestry is they're kind of sellouts and shit like that, which is true. They kind of are, you know. And they don't protect the land like they should, right? The Forestry Service doesn't protect the land like they should, and they kind of felt like we needed better tactics, we need stronger leaders, and we need to step up. And I was around when I grew up. There was a bunch of these kids that were getting like prosecuted in the town, and I knew the person that like was the landlord or not the landlord. She was like the main renter of the flop house they would crash at. So I met all these weird hippies and shit as a teenager, and that turned me into a rebellious asshole too. You know what I mean? Like, like they instilled like a good
Down with the man.
yeah, kind of, and like yeah, and that kind of was like and I kind of like took that and I was like, I saw how much damage religion had done to me, and I kind of wanted to have my own version of activism. You know, I take activism for skepticism very seriously, and I just go online and I talk to Christians, I talk to pastors, I'll ask them questions. I just try to use like straight epistemology. I try to use Socratic questions, things like that. I try not to be abrasive. I'm very kind. I don't want to be misrepresent them most of the time. Sometimes I'm a dick because that happens. But
I I try not to cuss or any be snotty or anything, but I guess just the way I say things come off that way or something. I just try to
well,
be
you're
blunt and
probably
cut
just a
to the.
smartass. That's all.
No, I'm trying to cut to the point.
I
I
think
don't want.
snark is good. You got to be snarky.
Oh,
Snark is
yeah,
good.
we were talking earlier. I'm a little older. I'm a little older than Ryan is, and I think when you hear it so many times, you can already weed through a lot of it when they're already starting. It's like I know what you're gonna say. I know the Bible verse you're using. Um, I know what Ken Ham says. I know what Hovens says. Whoever it is. So it's trying to cut to the chase a little bit, and I maybe other people have their speech all prepared and ready, and I'm disappointing them or something like that. But yeah, you want to get right to the chase, and you see it in some of the people in the debates and stuff too that have been around, and they're like, yeah, 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 and it may come off as rude or whatever, but yeah, how many times you're going to hear it and you're just sitting there rolling your eyes waiting for them to
Yeah,
get
yeah,
done,
dude.
and then you're going to forget what your
I'm a
dang
straight shooter.
question was, you know what I mean, to
Yeah,
begin
I
with,
like
because they're
being
going to they're
blunt.
going to
I
do
like
their
being
shtick for
blunt.
how long.
I
Yeah.
like being blunt. That's why I like I said, street epistemology. I think is really good for that because you can be like, hey, you can just kind of lead the horse to water. You know what I mean? You're like, what if your belief wasn't true? Would you want to know? Would you want to even know if you what you believe it wasn't true? And then they say, no, I wouldn't want to know. And they're like, and then you go, well, do you think that's reasonable? Like if a Muslim came to you and said the same thing, would you find that to be a reasonable position? And they're like, no. And then you're like, okay, so You know.
And we've talked about it numerous times.
Lead the horse.
And I've been on a couple of the Muslim channels before. They're using the same exact arguments.
They're the worst though. They're awful though. They don't care about like if they're like using like fallacious arguments or not, and they just care about like vibrato a lot of the time, or like they're like kind of fronting, you know, or
you want to be all alpha.
Yeah, that's all that really matters. It
be a
doesn't
bunch of
matter.
alpha males.
Doesn't matter if the argument
manly
is
beards.
reasonable or rational or logical. We don't care about any of that shit as long as we say it in a way that comes across as, "Hey, I'm the man." And to those people, I go, "Hey,
and
I have a fucking black belt too. Like, what are you gonna do?
The
I'll meet you in the cage."
Yeah, the Kent Hovind type
I'm scared.
evangelicals and everything too. They're very sexist too, you know.
Oh, they're awful. Oh yeah.
So
I remember. So my wife was
for them to talk about another.
Well,
for them to talk about Islam, they got no room to talk because they're just as bad.
Right. So my wife teaches English as a second language, right? And she used to work for a university, and I would always go on like they would do like tours with him or whatever, right? And I would go on. I would be like a guide, and I'd make friends with a lot of Muslim dudes, and they would just confess to me constantly. They're like, "Yeah." They're like, "You see that girl right there?" We'd be sitting in the car. They're like, "You see that girl?" They're like, in Islam, I'm not allowed to look at her and think about her like I am right now." You know, that's the kind of shit they would say. And we're not allowed to do, you know, that thing. They're like,
that's a guilt. Masturbate. That's the same guilt thing that they use with the Christians and other religions too. Yeah, it's a way to guilt you into.
I was just like, "What are you, Amish?
How awful you are!" And yeah,
have you ever met an Amish person, dude?
Not like
when I was growing up, there's like an Amish community.
I've been down. I've been down southern.
In Montana, there's an Amish community, and they put on like auctions every year where they auction off quilts and things. They sell their shit, right? They sell their quilts and stuff like that. And I grew up going to the Amish community with my parents, and they would buy like stuff from the Amish people. My dad would buy like equipment or quilts or whatever. Stuff like that.
We got the Ohio Pennsylvania crossover over here. So
yeah, but like those kids are desperate to get away from that thing, from the repression. Like I remember even as like when I was like 12, 13, so that would have been 93. Going there, I had like a little Game Boy. And the other kid my age was like, "What's that thing?" "Yeah, I want to play a Game Boy." And I was like, "Just come sit in this Suburban for like 10 minutes and we'll just play on the Game Boy." And I was like, "I won't tell anyone, dude."
That's the thing
corrupting the Amish kid, you know what I mean?
Talking about countries like North Korea and any of these other repressive countries, it's just a matter of time.
Yeah. No.
Before people get enough cell phones, and it's just,
dude, they have to hire. They have to hire men to impregnate their women because their gene pool is so like inbred. Because you're married to your cousin, so you have to have someone else come impregnate your wife.
They're gonna get webbed fingers.
Yep. There's jobs. My dad would always tease me when I was a kid. He was like, "You want to be an Amish stud?" I was like, "No, dude."
That's we were just talking about Ken Ham with his bad Amish beard. He has a terrible I think he wants to wants to be an Amish beard, but it's just so terrible.
AR is sin boy.
So were you ever a young Earth creationist then? Did you ever believe any of that stuff?
No, you know what? It's because so when my dad went to dental school when I was a little kid, like age 5 till like 8, between that period of time, I learned enough science while my dad was going to dental school there was no way I could be a young Earth creationist at all. Because my dad worked at the zoo. He was like a landscaper. That's what like he did landscaping as like a side job for like the zoo and like the research center around there. And so we got free passes to OMSI and the zoo in Portland, and I would go there all the time. And dude, I saw the evolution exhibits at OMSI in Portland when I was like 5. There's no way I'm coming back from that shit. You know what I mean? No way.
So were you
Like,
you were amused?
I
then
love
when,
dinosaurs.
oh yeah. Well, that's Dino Land. I mean, Hoven's got the hook.
I mean,
Right
but
there.
that's the thing. Like, Dino Land is a
Can Ham with
facade, right?
dinosaurs.
It's
Yeah,
a
I know
facade.
he doesn't have no dinosaurs.
It's a facade. It's all just a fucking scam. Okay, dude. He is probably
KOA. It's a KOA park.
He is probably one of the scariest religious leaders right now. Like, I wouldn't be surprised, dude. I don't want to say too much, but Kent Hovind scares the shit out of me.
Bill Ludlow, may he rest in peace, did a few videos about it's a compound,
He's a gangster.
And well, the problem is that and nothing against folks that have hit hard times, okay, but
he's not just like a joke.
He has a lot of people who hit on hard times that may not be the most reputable people to be in a family-friendly environment. And I'm not knocking folks that, had a hard knock or anything else, but generally these are not folks that you want to have in a family-friendly atmosphere. These people that have, especially some of their records and everything, it's a bad mix. That's
what I'm saying. Like at the church I grew up in, here's a great example. There was our 7th grade math teacher. I remember my friend and I went to my mom. We were like, "Hey, the math teacher is touching some young men in our class inappropriately. Not us in particular, but he's definitely touching like some of the younger like athletes, like the football players inappropriately, like coming up and trying to massage them, touching their ears, weird shit like that, right?" And she was like, "You guys probably think he's a..." And I'm like, I guess? Yes? Like, all I know is he's touching these dudes inappropriately. And my mom's like, "I don't believe you."
Well, that's Mark.
No, it gets better. It gets better.
Mark, that worked for over there at with Hoven, said that he had enough when his daughter said that Kent Hoven told her she gives the best massages.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks fucking later, dude.
And so again, it's
he
got
got busted.
What is going on?
A massage, inner thigh massage to someone on the baseball team from the town that was next door. That was on a bait that he was like the assistant coach on. Yeah, and then he goes to prison for like 6 months. That's all he got. He gets invited to the church where we went. That I went to. That was really like the trigger for me, was that. Like that dude being invited to my church. I was like, what the hell? So he's supposed to we're supposed to potential victims of him that he had harassed, sexually molested in class, basically. Like he come up and touch people's ears and shit sexually. It was really super creepy. And this guy, we're supposed to go to church with this guy sitting in the back. He has a supervisor, so it's okay. No, why should I be forced to be in the same room as someone that abused us?
Yeah, how many
abused people around me? What the fuck?
Well,
that's what I was like. I'm done with this church.
Ravi Zacharias was, taking care of these taking advantage of these vulnerable women and stuff.
That's what did it for me. I was like, I'm done with the church. Like, I will never take this. That's what was the initial
Well, you've got a predator environment because you have people that are coming there often with emotional problems, and they're easy marks. They're easy marks.
Fucking Lewis.
What's he up to now?
He said, "No bullshit." Lewis said here. I'm trying to drink a beer, man.
He's gonna blow it all over the camera, and we're gonna have another electrical problem. All hail Bigfoot. No electrical problems.
You guys are great. I love it.
So
shout out to the chat, homies.
So you said you've been blocked by a few of them. Have you tried to engage then with some of these apologists then?
Oh yeah, I do constantly. Yeah, like at least like 2 or 3 days a week, I make a point to go online and engage in some like activism. You know what I mean? To like confront some of these people and to confront some of the Christians online and to be like, hey, this might not be the best argument against whatever you're trying to argue against. I don't know what the hell you're saying, but it might not be the best argument anyway because it's fallacious. I know that much, Like, I don't think they know what they're saying half the time. That's really what it comes down to is like you just have to go out there and be like trying to educate people on how to think more clearly, more reasonably, and use reason and rational thought. Like,
yeah, I was listening to your street epistemology video.
Oh, yeah. And that was done a long time ago.
It was, but yeah, while I was listening, talking about ways to communicate, and some of the things you were saying is, people need to be able to communicate and stuff, and I agree. It is difficult when people just want to call names and there's no interest at all in having any dialogue, and it's just a waste of your time. But sometimes there's some good dialogue out there with some folks.
I've had you have to know, you have to be able to gauge who you're talking to. Like you have to gauge it. You have to be able to gauge at what level of intelligence kind of the person is. You know what I mean? They're just being honest. There are some people of low intelligence out there that do not understand a word you're typing to them.
Yeah. I've been around the internet long enough.
And you have to know when you're making like a complete waste of your time.
Jim Hall and I were talking when he was on about the dial-up days and AOL chats and Yahoo chats and so
I had a friend.
It's nothing new.
Like early 2000s, and I was like, "What the hell?"
It's nothing new. The thing is that again, it's nothing new. I'm hearing the same thing that I heard in the AOL chat how many decades ago. That's why sometimes I'm like, okay, I know what you're already gonna say. Yeah, can we just get to the point?
Well, as like non-believers, we have to as skeptics, we have to maybe. I feel like we have to be the better people. Kind of, we have to set the ground rules. We have to say, hey, this is how we approach things. These other people aren't willing to do it, so we have to kind of do it for them. You know what I mean?
Well, it's in this day and age, everybody's an expert.
What are the rules of engagement though? Like that's the thing. Like you have to
citations.
Yeah, right.
First thing, that's what I've learned to cut to the chase. Citation. Who said that? Do you have a source that says that, or is it your brother-in-law's
being fallacious? Straight up fallacious?
Yeah. Where does it come from? Potholer 54. I learned that.
54.
Go right for the citation and check the source, and you'll usually find that if it sounded really silly, it's probably because it came from somebody's brother-in-law's blog. It didn't come from a scientific paper or a textbook or a university or even a theological text or anything. You know what I mean? Even if you have legitimate theologians, again, none of these evangelists seem to like the people that actually went to school to actually learn the stuff, because again, a lot of them disagree with folks like William Lane Craig that actually went and learned the stuff. So where do you go from there?
My wife is a PhD student, right? And
That's awesome.
I know a lot of other. A few years back, I played um, softball with a local biologist here. Half of those people are PhDs. You know what I mean? They're geniuses. And I would go on to like Kent Hovind's page and be like, hey, if you guys want to ask a PhD something, why don't you, if that's like something that they haven't ever been asked, like I'm sure I could like ask them for you. And nothing, nothing, nothing. They don't want to ask anything. You know, they're not interested. They're not actually interested in asking people that are in the field. They're only interested in what comes from their little bubble. And that's really the problem of religion in general. Like, we need to go around, pop the bubbles, pop the stupid idea bubbles and the belief bubbles. And people need to be.
And they need to stop with prove it to me.
Yeah,
I don't have to prove
yeah.
anything to you. I'm
Or
not a
do your
scientist.
own research
Oh
nonsense.
yeah.
Like, stop that shit, dude.
Well,
Stop.
at least look something up. I mean,
Yeah.
some things you do not have
Okay,
to
do
do
your own
serious
research means
research.
you should go see what the professionals say about it. Not, I want to like see what the people I agree with say about it. You know what I mean?
That's the thing these days. You've got 99 out of 100, and they're looking at that one that it's going, yeah, but there's that one. And it's like, yeah, but have you checked this, this person? I mean, they don't have any papers to their name. They've never really done anything, but they got maybe a job at a creationist organization or some similar quote think tank, and that's all they've ever done. They just blog and write magazine articles and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and it's like that.
I feel bad for those people. Like, I have a deep
It's just not a
empathy.
good source. This person isn't
No,
doing
I have,
anything,
but I
you
have a
know.
deep empathy for like the people that are doing that because they're stuck there, right? And then I also have a deep empathy for the people that fall for that kind of thing because I don't know if like critical thinking is necessarily taught to people as well as it should be in like schools, the school system, right? My wife currently teaches GD classes at the community college, and she does like a critical thinking class where she teaches fallacies, how to identify fallacies, how to you know what I mean? Like she has it's basically teaching the basic
and
informal logic, right?
and learn what it is so that you aren't saying that everything is a fallacy when it's not, because that
Mhm.
gets over abused too.
Yes.
That's a
Yeah,
fallacy.
actually
That's a fallacy.
learn
That's
how
a,
to
I didn't
actually
even finish
identify
my
the
sentence.
fallacy.
Hey,
Yeah.
I didn't even
Not
finish my
strawman
sentence.
it.
How's it a fallacy?
Yeah, like what the hell, man?
Fallacy, 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 throw fallacy.
Thank you, Dave. Yeah, the fallacy, right? That's another one.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Mm. And I'm willing to like. I like. Who was I watching earlier? It was the British kid that. I know they say he's the next Christopher Hitchens, right? That one kid on the British like skeptic kid. What's
Alex.
his name? Alex. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's great. He is becoming more, and the more I mean, I've been watching him since he first came onto the scene. Like that's like kind of my thing. Is like I search the word atheism every day on Google or on YouTube and see who's pumping out the videos, and I'll refresh it on the hour just to see who's
I
pumping out the
got.
videos on the hour.
I got.
I
Hang
just
on. I wore my Ken Ham
ham
shirt.
and eggs shirt.
Yeah,
Hell
I've got my.
yeah!
But
Ham and
I
eggs.
do have I have
Ham
got
and
a
eggs.
Cosmic Skeptic shirt too. So yep, I am a fan.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Apologia.
And
Hell yeah,
And
Apologia is the shit.
Alex was talking, running his mouth a lot, and then he said, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to go to school on philosophy and theology and put my money where my mouth is." So, agree with
And
him or not, that's, I mean, he's at a top school learning the
Ah,
actual
yeah,
serious
yeah, dude,
schooling of it,
I
not
love.
what a video
You know
says.
what he does this really well? The Christians say when I go into the channels, like he talked to Inspiring Philosophy recently, and all the Christians in his comment section are like, "I love how charitable he is," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's that is called intellectual fairness. That's something that
He's
isn't
always had a good
taught."
demeanor. Yeah.
Yeah, but intellectual, like the intellectual charity that he offers is way, like that is something that shows that you have reached a certain point of thinking that you can articulate the other person's idea and yours at the same time, and then you can talk about them together. You're not you are not missing anything. There's no you're not misrepresenting their argument. You're not lowballing their ideas. You're not ad hominem them. I wish that I wish more people would respect candor like that. You know what I mean?
And bring a good argument. Yeah, like
Yeah,
you're
and
saying,
and be
don't
and
bring
be
garbage. Bring a good
well, and
argument.
also represent steelman your opponent, right? Steelman the other person's position. You can't go in an argument and misrepresent them because that is dishonest. If you represent your opponent's position accurately and attack that, then you are actually making a good argument.
That's why I often ask people, do you think debating people like Hovind or anything does any
No,
good at all?
no. I think Hovind should be relegated to the depths of fucking internet. Like, no, he should be bottom of the barrel, lowest. Like, he's a scumbag. He abused his wife. He abused his children. He abused the people around him. He's clearly just a fucking goddamn cult leader that has an ego 10 times bigger than his head. I mean, what do you need to say about Hovid, dude? Like, I could talk shit about Hovid all day. Like, he apparently
Well, YouTube tried to
he
bounce
may.
him,
There's
but
some weird
he
ass.
snuck around it. So
I'm not gonna. There's some weird ass accusations about Hovid that have to do with kids. You
I
know
know
what I mean?
I
Abusing
watch
kids.
AJ and Mama and
Yeah, there's some. Yeah,
Mark
Big Mama. Big
Stoney
Mama
story.
is my girl.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's Mark's last name? Is it
Dude, Mark
Stoney?
Reed.
No, the one that
Oh
used to work for
no.
Hovind.
Oh yeah. Mark Stoney. Yeah.
Stoney. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Stoney.
Yeah. So yeah, and there's been a few
Yeah, dude.
others that
I mean, I keep my finger on the pulse, right? Like that's what I try to do. Is just keep the finger on the pulse.
well, I
Like
say Bill Ludlow,
I'm
may he
like,
rest in peace, was
bro,
talking
dude,
about it how many
I
years
want to,
ago?
I want to chokehold on Christianity. I'm a martial artist, dude. I want to like strangle it to death, like
Iron
suffocate it.
Fingers. Iron Fingers. Oh,
Yeah, dude.
remember
Like
the Iron
what?
Fingers where they were putting
I
them through
mean,
the
well, that's the
coconuts
thing.
and
Like some
everything?
people are like more inclined to that kind of shit, right?
But here at the Captive Desk, we do not promote violence. We promote
No,
peace and harmony.
I'm just talking about like in Minecraft. No, I'm talking about like mental fucking like abilities to like suffocate arguments. You know what I mean? We need to do that. We definitely need to do that. We need to like I want to promote as much activism as possible is my goal. Like I want to promote people to go out there and be like, "Hey, I was mistaken about this shit and I didn't realize it at the time, but guess what? You're also mistaken. And here's
That's
how
why I
to
was
correct your mistakes."
one of my favorite interviews I've done was with Dan Phelps, who's quite an
I know
activist behind
Dan.
the scenes, and he deserves a lot of credit for all he does because
Yeah.
not everybody knows all the people that are behind the scenes doing activism all the time.
That's the thing, yeah. Like there's a lot of people behind the scenes that are
And if you
being
haven't seen it, you go watch the Dan Phelps interview I did because it's a good interview. Dan's a good guy, smart
Yes.
guy, caring guy. You can't say enough good things about him.
You're right.
He's quite the activist and educator, and we need more of him. And hopefully, he inspires more and
Dude.
more. And it does seem to be, we're getting more. It used to be, and not to knock any YouTubers or anything, but we're getting more and more scientists that are doing channels and stuff
Yeah,
too.
we're getting
So
more professionals, which
yeah,
is a good thing, right? Like I'm just a layman. Like I'm totally a
me
layman.
too.
Like I don't
Right.
like I admit that 100%. I don't. That's why I
I
don't
yeah,
like. That's why I'm
I
trying to put
defer
out
to the
like a lot of
experts.
content,
Yep.
honestly, because my wife is a PhD student. She has 2 master's degrees already. Like I'm not touching that shit. You know what I mean? Like I did not. I don't have a silver tongue like she does. I can't word things like they do. I can't. I do not have the knowledge that they do either.
I do
Like,
my
I
videos
mean,
my own way. Yep. So that's
yeah.
I've
Like
got something to say. I'm gonna make a video. So
I'm
like it or not, that's
self-educated,
my
right?
video.
I'm autodidactic, right? That's what they call that, right?
I went through high school, and my problem is that people that had the same education that I do not have any excuse for some of the things I hear them say.
I went to like
It's like
glass school.
you
I went
weren't,
to the
yeah.
glass school in Eugene. Like I had a glass blowing studio for a while and shit. I'm a glass blower, but I'm a chef too. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah, we were talking about
they
that.
go hand in hand. It's all fire, right? I love fire.
Fire,
Get
fire.
exactly.
Oh, I often say, when would you eat this? Would you eat this? And it's like, if you throw it on the grill, I'll probably try it. I may not like
I
it prepared a lot of
mean,
other ways or raw or any of that stuff, but you put a little char on it,
there's
I'll at least
also
give it a
like
try.
acquired taste. I'm okay with like acquired taste things too. Like this is an acquired taste. Okay,
I
I'll
I
try it
was just
once.
trying a new juice. My wife got me a new juice, and I tried it, and I was like, I don't think I like this.
You
But
like
I
kimchi?
tried it again, and I'm like, no, I don't think I like this. But I
You
tried it
like
one more
kimchi?
time,
And then
and
you
the other
liked it.
day I said,
Maybe
yeah,
I
don't
liked
give me any
it.
more of that juice. I don't like it. But I gave it 3 tries, just in case,
Perfect.
because
Yeah,
some
that's good.
days
That's
you
good.
ate
Now
something, and your
you
mouth is
know you
off,
don't like it.
but
You know that. You
I
know
don't
that
like
it's
it.
not for you. You're
Nope.
like, nah, I actually don't like that thing, whatever
I
it
don't like
is.
the mix. However they mixed it, it's like no. But
He's like, I don't want your kombucha weird, not weird shit. No, your carrot
well,
kombucha.
we
Gross.
transitioned years back off of drinking milk all the time because we were like, you have
Mhm.
milk with dinner, you have milk with breakfast, you have milk with lunch.
No, 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 no. What
So
is this like
I
a
switched
vintage?
to I like to have a glass of juice with dinner. So I'm also getting my fruit juice. So yeah,
I
so
wish I
that's
was
the thing now.
a better dietitian that I know how to eat.
Oh,
Well, no, okay. Here's the
I'm
thing. Okay,
terrible, but I gotta do the minimums.
okay. I do this.
I'm I'm old.
I have a garden. I have a garden. I
Yep,
have
me too.
herbs and vegetables growing,
Yep.
strawberries and shit like that. And then also my family from Idaho, we raise beef. We raise our own beef. So I get like homemade beef and shit like that. And I try to live off of that rather than store bought beef. You know what I mean? Send the wife to Idaho every 6 months and she gets re ups on the beef.
Bring home a cow.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
see,
She's
you see one just by the side of the road. Bring it back
no
with you.
T bones and shit, dude.
I I've done my part. I've cut back, and especially as I've gotten a little older, where my system doesn't seem to like such large
Yeah,
portions of meat.
same, same, same.
It's just like, whoa, slow down, old man.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
if I moderate a little bit, and I cut back on a few things, and
Do you
I
like
got my
the
LDLs.
Mediterranean diet?
Yeah, I got my LDLs down, and my doctor was happy, so I didn't
Mm.
need any pills or
What I
anything.
want to
So
do is like just go down and hang out with Pragmatic Crystal and just eat fish. and like
I keep
vegetables
saying the
all day.
same
I'm pretty
thing.
sure.
I keep saying that one video with the crawdad broil or whatever, and
Oh my god, damn, dude, you
just
got me
killing me.
hooked.
And the
Damn you, women.
blackened catfish. Oh man, that's some good eating. Yeah.
Down. That's where we need to all meet up. Is in New Orleans or whatever, wherever she lives.
Well, are you still in the same place than your video? It looked like you got a big natural environment out there in your backyard. Are you still in the same place then?
Are you trying to pregnant?
No, to you.
To
When you were
me? Oh
throwing,
yeah.
yeah,
Well,
when you were throwing your dog
oh okay. Yeah,
the
that was
frisbee in the
from
backyard.
Idaho. That was from
Oh,
Idaho.
okay.
Yeah, that
Okay.
was where the youth pastor used to live in that house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have moved on since then. We're living in northern Arizona. I live in Flagstaff.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, my wife's going to PhD school here for just.
How's the temps been? How the temps been
Well,
there?
I'm at 7,000 feet, right?
Oh, okay.
So it's 80 right now.
Not bad.
And you know
We
what it'll get at night? It'll get 55,
yeah.
50. So
We
at night, so in the desert, I'm desert, right? High desert. So it'll get like 80 degrees, 82, I think was the high today. And then it'll be like fucking 50 or 55 will be the low at night. It's really nice. Really, really, really nice.
we've had a cool summer here in Ohio. It's been really weird. It's
Yeah, if you're living in the right spot, it's gonna be cool. But what altitude are you at? To
I
Ohio's like,
yeah, we've got Lake Erie right here, so
mm-hmm.
however high Lake
It's
Erie is.
humid. It's humid.
Well, I think Lake Erie is
uh,
just high enough to get into the to the sea or whatever. So
yeah, one of my best friends from back in the day is from
we're not very high now.
Ohio for sure. We built when he moved to Idaho, we built a half pipe in his backyard. You know what I mean?
Well,
The
you gotta
skaters.
get down to southern Ohio, and then it
Aha!
gets in Ohio, and then it gets hilly. But
You got to be like, it's a little
we got a
hill.
lot of we got a lot of farms around
I
this
love
area.
how you're trying to talk about hills.
We
That's funny. No.
uh,
It's funny. That's funny.
yeah, no, this part of the area, there's a lot of farmland and stuff, and
No, and yeah, I grew up as a farmer. Like my dad was a farmer. My grandfather was a farmer. Um, I married the farmer's daughter. You know,
there's got to be a million and one jokes right there.
there
Where's
is.
you just opened the door for BS.
He's like, I got Farmer Blaster here. Farmer Kung Fu Blaster.
Yeah, I like I say, yeah, I've heard different things about Frank Turek. I've heard that he's all right, and other people say he isn't.
No. Like he's very personable, right? He's
He always puts me
personable.
in a timeout. So I don't
Dude,
know.
do you not think that Kent Hovind is personable? Like if you met him, you don't think you would like get along with him? I would. I get
Oh,
along with all these people. That's the weird thing
he's
about it. Is like
he's got that
you're gonna
used
get
car
along with them.
salesman thing,
Yeah,
where
exactly.
he's gonna
They're just
smile
like
and fake it. Yeah.
they're
If
like,
he's
I
gonna
know
sell you
who you
something,
are, and
yeah,
you're like, I know who you are too, and they're like, I don't care who you know who I am. And they're like, I'm still smiling.
but now I've heard like Ken Ham isn't that personable actually. So
No, Ken Ham is very unapproachable. I've never like he was one of the most unapproachable people. Yeah, I would say that. Like came to my church. He came to my church like every 3 or 4 months, like for like a couple of years when I was a
he
teenager.
I don't
And
know
yeah,
about
I did
lately.
not find
He's
him.
slowing down a little, but he used to do it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, we paid him a lot of money. I'm pretty sure my dad donated money to pay him to fucking come visit for some fucking reason. I don't know why.
And Dan Phelps, if you're watching, we're always trying to keep tabs on where they're getting this income. And Dan was just talking about how often the jet that Ken Ham is a part owner in takes flights to the Cayman Islands. Very interesting.
Do you?
So,
I don't think Ken Ham believes a thing that he preaches.
I think Ken Ham has like an honor thing going for his father. I
Yeah,
think
I don't. It's not.
he
It's not like
has
a
to
personal
honor
belief.
his father because his father taught him that stuff. You know what I
It's
mean?
kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like
It's like even if you don't believe it, you can't badmouth
what
dad.
is what
You
is
know what I mean?
His son? What's his
Eric.
Eric. Yeah,
Eric,
I
yeah.
never met him. I wish he would visit it.
Well, he's got what, another
I know my dad.
son and another daughter, but they don't really
I know my dad
they're not
fixed
really involved, I
his
don't think.
teeth. I know my dad did dentistry on camera, but I know that
Well,
much. I
if he could get
remember
it if he could get it free or for cheap, you
that.
guarantee.
I probably have his dental records somewhere. I could probably get them for you, but no. But seriously, I'm pretty
I
sure.
want somebody to find a record where he ever taught anywhere.
Like this is my dad was just went to the church because it was like it paid. You know what I mean? And then my mom took it seriously, and it was a serious fucking problem. Like it, like they decided that they were gonna start like whooping my ass when I was like fucking 13, 14 years old.
Spare the rod.
Yeah, that dude came through the church.
Oh, have you seen those videos with those
Yes, yes, I've seen him in person,
rod
and
lessons?
then I received the rod afterwards because of that motherfucker.
That's
Yeah, so I received abuse directly because of that bastard.
I have a lot of things to say about a lot of things,
Like so, like
but
it's like some of those. Like I feel
when
like
I
I'm
saw
in
those
like a
videos, it's like
video game sometimes. You know what I mean? Like
it's
where you're like,
unbelievable.
these are my opponents in this video game. Like you're like, these are the bad guys that line up that I need to get through. It's like that dude that taught the fucking rod shit in the '90s. That motherfucker caused me some serious abuse.
Oh, I'm sure for a lot of people,
Physical abuse.
yeah, they've got churches full of them. They're up there.
It
Yeah,
didn't start
this
until
is
I
how
was
you
like,
beat the crap out of your kids, and I'm like, it was horrific. It's horrific.
and it was in the '90s. It was like in the early '90s when he was promoting that shit. Oh my god, dude! That was like one of the, like I said, there was sort of a lot of triggers from the church, right? That led
Well,
me to not want to be Christian.
it's submission. It's a age old submission thing. Shut up or you're going to get one across the mouth.
I took
Don't
the
ask
belt.
questions,
The
do what you're
belt
told.
is a belt or a piece of kenneling, a piece of fucking wood from the fucking stove that's across my ass nuts. I was like,
And see,
I
again,
looked at my dad after that time. I was like, if you ever fucking try to do this again, I'll whoop your ass. So I told him. And he tried to do it again, and I broke his rib, and that's when I got kicked out of the house at 15.
again, my mom put soap in our mouths a couple times for
Oh
cussing,
yeah,
but
yeah, dude.
we didn't
That
we didn't really get beat or anything like that.
I told anyone if they put soap in my mouth, I'd punch them in the mouth too.
We used
I was like,
we used to get the wooden
like
spoon. We used to
that.
get the wooden
Yeah,
spoon
yeah,
or
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
spatula right across the back of the hand.
I
You
remember when
say
I was
something
8.
off color and it's like whack right across the
I
back of your
remember when
hand.
I
It's
was
like,
8, I was
ow.
distracted after school for like 20 minutes. And I came home from school late, and I thought my mom would whip my ass because I was used to that. So I took that wooden spoon and broke it over my knee. I was like, I was just observing
Oh, that was the
frogs.
worst.
Fuck you.
No, yeah, that was the worst.
No, that's
If
what
she
I
would
was
hit you,
doing. I was just observing frogs, and I like screw her, right?
yeah,
I wasn't gonna
she'd
come home and
crack
get
you
my
across
ass
the
whooped
hand, and then it would break, and then she'd be mad that you broke the spoon.
for observing nature. Like screw.
That was about it. My mom had a big thing about not cussing. So
No, I think
And
after that, after I
I
did
told
that,
my kids the same thing. My kids weren't allowed to cuss until they were 18. I said, unless
mm.
you got straight A's on that report card, you got more you got more words to learn, right?
Oh, I
Like,
know. I think
so,
swearing is a sign of intelligence. That's improving, right?
well, when it's a kid, first of all, I don't think it
No, no.
sounds
Even
good.
if it's a kid, I think it's
And
okay
it's,
if it's
you
if
know, there's,
within reason and the right timing. If they know when to swear and how to
well,
swear,
I
I'm
think
okay
it
with
can
it.
be, I think it can be used, to be lazy instead of using a lot of other words. So
No, 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 no,
if
no,
you
no.
want to use it, make sure you know a lot of other
No,
words
bro,
too.
bro, 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 bro,
So,
bro. Dave. That is the exact opposite of what this actually studies show. The people that use swear words are actually way more intelligent than people that don't.
I've I cuss all the time, but
Okay, yeah. See, there you fucking go.
yeah. But as soon as both of them were 18, though, it was like, they're gaming or something, and it was like, fuck. So yeah, it was I don't ask for much. You know, as long as they did their part in school, they weren't goofing off, and you take out the trash and you cut the grass. I'm not asking for much, and maybe it's a little old school or something, but yeah, my there was always a thing about cussing. My grandmother used to say, if you cuss, a lightning bolt's going to get you. And my mom didn't like cussing. You get the soap
Yeah,
in the
bro.
mouth.
Yeah, I think
And
it's
it was
like a
just that thing
misnomer. I
that,
think it's a
yeah,
misnomer.
you just didn't do it. Of course, see, my
I
grandmother, though,
understand. Okay, I
my
understand. I don't
grandmother would cuss
cuss.
in Polish, though, see,
Yeah,
so
see,
that
I
nobody
don't
knew what she was
cuss.
saying.
Okay, you have to know, like I said, there is a time and a place for it, and if the kid knows the time
Absolutely.
and the place for it, I'm not going
Yeah.
to hold it against them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I
like,
used to
there
watch
is a
South.
time and place.
I used to watch. Well, I both my boys. We have a thing about watching South Park. Okay,
All right,
but
yeah, we're
I also used to tell them I don't want to hear you repeating that stuff around your grandmother or anything. You know what I mean? That was
yeah,
the
that's fair
deal,
enough.
right? Yeah.
That's fair enough. Yeah,
It's
I'm not
time
going to
and
go
place.
cuss in front of grandma. Of
Yeah, it's
course not.
time and place. You want to
It's called
watch, we can have a good
respect.
laugh, right?
You
Or
respect
in
grandmother.
school, or in school. Yeah, don't be saying that stuff in school, getting in trouble or anything, right? But if you
Okay,
want to have a
so
laugh, then we can have a
here's a
laugh.
funny story.
So,
Like a few years ago,
and they did
like
all
few
right.
years
They did all right. So
I think it
I'm
was
proud of
in
them.
like
So
in the middle of COVID. I like went up and visited my buddy a couple years ago, and his mom is like a super conservative Mormon, right? And we're hanging out, and I was just like, we were drinking beers, and I was already kind of like my filter was broken, right? If I drink a couple beers, no more filter. That's not happening anymore. And I was like dropping f bombs, and he's like, bro, dude, that's the first time my mom has ever heard anyone say that phrase before. And I was like, no, fuck it, man. Like, what the fuck? Like, I was like, well, good. Like, you know what? She still loves me. She still fucking respects me, and she likes me. She doesn't like I drop those swear words appropriately. There's a difference, you know what I mean? She's like, I'm net of like he's like, I don't think my mom's ever heard anyone swear like you. And I was like, yeah, you should have like you know me. Like we've been friends since we were 17 years old. Like I can swear up a storm, especially if you put some like whiskey in me or something. My tongue is loose.
I worked in a lot of environments that have colorful language.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a chef,
But
dude.
again, though,
Like, it
but
fucking
you
comes
have
with the territory.
but you have to remember to turn it off when you're talking with the customer or something like that too. So yeah,
or don't. Or don't, and fuck the customer because I'm right and not them because I'm the chef and they're the customer eating my food that I'm cooking for them. They can suck my fucking cock, dude.
we
Like, I'm sorry.
I had
Like
I,
you want me to cook you decent food, or do you want to and have a decent you want me to feel oppressed at my job?
I
Like
had I had customers
that's how I
I had
live.
customers paging me, and it was like, oh man, I just every time that pager went off, it was just like, oh cripe.
Okay. Have you ever, Dave?
Oh,
Have you ever hung out with
you
anyone
remember
famous?
pagers?
You ever hung out with anyone famous before?
No, not really.
Okay, I do have a few stories on this. When I was, I guess I was I must have been like 15? 15. 95. My dad took me on a cowboy ride, hit tour in Wyoming where we rode 120 miles in like a week, horseback. Not easy. But Gil Gerard was there. He was Space
Mm.
Buck back in the day. Itty bitty buddy, way to go, Buck! Right, that Space Buck,
I
Buck
I
Rogers,
watched it.
Buck
I
Rogers,
watched
the
Buck
original Buck
Rogers. Yeah,
Rogers. Yeah,
I
you know who
watched it.
Buck Rogers is, dude. I hung out with him for a week and his son. Buck was fine. He's kind of a douchebag, but his son threatened to, the second day we were there. His son threatened to stab me, and I was like, hey, if you come at me like that again, I'll fucking beat the shit out of you. I was like, I'll fuck you up. I was
They're
like, don't
just
ever threaten me ever again.
kids are kid. Yeah, kids are
Yeah, but
kids. Doesn't matter who they are.
I was like, don't threaten me. I told him that. He was like scared of me the rest of the whole ride. It was great. But I did get to hang out with Buck Rogers and hear some fucking stories and shit. And I hung out with Tom Petty once and his daughters in 1995. We were at the Hilton, and my parents we were going to Disneyland for my little brother and sister. And I was like, I'm hanging out in the fucking pool all day. Fuck this. I was like, I don't want to go with you guys. I don't care about the fucking rides. And I hung out with Tom Petty and his daughters all day. It was fucking sweet.
Cool.
And then what's the other coolest person? Okay, so when I was working downtown here, my fucking celebrity crush showed up. That was pretty fucking sweet. The chick from Fight Club, or not Fight Club, but from Deadpool 2. You ever seen the girlfriend in that? What's her name? Malik.
Yeah, I've seen the
What's
movies.
her name?
Mine
What's her
was
name?
mine was Valerie Bertinelli.
Yeah.
I used to watch One Day at a Time just because she
Oh,
was on it.
yeah, Marina Baccarin. That's her name. Marina Baccarin. She showed up at my restaurant, and she
I
showed
was
up
I was heartbroken when
she
Valerie
sat in
met.
front of me. I had to open a kitchen, right? And she sat in front of me. My server came over. I was like, I got this, homie. I was like, go away. I was like,
I was
I'll take
heartbroken
your order.
when Eddie Van Halen took away my sweetheart.
Yeah, I know a bunch of musicians and shit too. I know a bunch of musicians. I've kind of had a weird life, you know. I know a bunch of people.
So,
It's I don't like I'm grateful for it.
so if you had the chance, which one of the apologists would you like to sit down with and have a one-on-one?
Like if it was recorded, like this.
Or a debate or whatever
Yeah,
type
like a
of
debate.
discussion you'd like.
That's a good question. Like, who would I want to debate as if there was an apologist out there? Which apologist would I want to debate? Kind of feel like not to punch really high, but I think that he's really dumb, and I could probably debate him as a layman, even though he presents himself as like a supreme apologist. I would Frank Turk. I think he's a super douchebag. And I think he'd be really easy to defeat in a debate. I think he presents really douchey ideas.
That's why he's always putting me in a timeout. He don't like my question.
Yeah, I would love to debate Frank Turk in modern day debate where it's like an open platform where I know I'm going to get actually the space I deserve. I mean, I know I'm friends with James, right? Like that would be fun. Like I could probably maybe it could be arranged. I don't know.
Does Frank actually do
Frank,
that other than
no, he
the
doesn't.
couple
He
debates he
doesn't.
did with Hitchens or
No,
whatever?
he doesn't because he doesn't
He doesn't
because he
really do
gets
it, does he?
wrecked, dude. He gets
Yeah.
wrecked. Like he gets wrecked. He gets
That's like Ken Ham doesn't do it anymore either. He
they
used to
get
go on
wrecked.
that
They all
one.
get wrecked.
Yeah, he used to go on that one Christian debate channel where they would all sit around, and Rabbi Kaiser just destroyed him one time, telling him, "You don't understand
I
Hebrew,"
just think
and
of like
all this
ultimate
kind of stuff.
douchebags, ultimate dumb douchebags that like even a layman could defeat. Frank Turk. He's the one. I could defeat Frank Turk like no problem. Like,
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care for
like
Frank either.
I'm a fucking dumbass. Like I don't know. Like I remember shit. I have a fairly decent memory. I'm autodidactic. I teach myself. You know.
Well, Frank hasn't changed much, so if you know his shtick, you should be able to already know his arguments and have counters for him going in,
You're right.
because
I'm like
it hasn't
smart when
changed much.
I have poor learning skills, so
I did.
I just can't
That's what
fucking remember
that's what
shit.
notes
I
are
have a poor
for.
memory.
That's what notes are for. That's why I got my notes.
I have notes over here too. I'm pretty sure we surpassed them. Oh, I didn't. Oh, I did mention
Well,
Charles.
I was gonna say that Turek,
Sure, dude.
he
He's the one.
blocked me.
He's such
He
a
blocked
bitch.
me on Facebook, and
Do you
he puts
know
me in
Trinity
timeouts on
Radio?
YouTube.
The dude from Trinity Radio. I always like dog on him really hard because I always feel like
No, what was the one I was gonna?
Baxter. You know who I'm talking about? Um, Baxter is his name. His last name.
Um,
Trinity
I'm not.
Radio.
Yeah, I know the. I don't know the
Okay,
names.
yeah. So anyway, the dude from Trinity Radio. Someone might say. So who knows? Someone knows his name. The dude from Trinity Radio. It's some Baxter. And I'll remember.
Braxton, is that the Braxton?
Braxton. Yeah.
Braxton.
That
Yeah.
guy is. He always looks like he needs a hug. You know, he's so depressed, and he just plays his puppy. He's like, Jesus loves you. Jesus loves you so much. Because do you know how much Jesus loves you?
He loves you this much.
And I just love my atheist friends because I want them to find Jesus like I have. That's it.
What's the I saw the one on the gospel truth.
Braxton Hunter. Thank you.
Braxton
Braxton Hunter. Thank you.
What do you think about the gospel truth? I saw that was
the
on
Gospels?
your
Here's the other thing. You asked me about YouTubers because I know all of them. Yes. Who are you talking about? The
gospel truth.
I definitely know who that is. Fucking let me place it.
I had a few words with that guy.
I've talked to him before.
Yeah.
Oh, yo, dude. Oh my God. I owned this guy so bad.
Memory refreshed, is it?
Yeah. His slavery video. I just owned him. I have the top comment in his slavery video. Yep. His slavery apology video. I'm like, so you're saying you can't find good reasons to not want to enslave people unless they're commanded or pronounced from a god? And I'm like, you're done, dude. Like, where are you going?
He was saying something bigoted, and
he's such a douche.
And I made a comment, and all he gave me back was like an LOL or something. I'm like,
dude,
you're so weak. You're not even gonna try to defend yourself.
Dude,
you know,
I will go find the fucking video. It is. I'm gonna post it in the comment section earlier down below.
He's terrible.
I will do that for everyone watching. I will go find that.
How about
you give me mods and I can post links, and I will post that video that I fucking owned him in because it's like a short. It's like a short, right, that he did, I think, on his channel. But I have the highest comment. It's like 2,000 fucking plus comment. Like It's like way up there. That's one of my proudest comments actually. I might. You're like, how about this guy? I'm like,
yeah,
no,
if you
I
put up
owned
there.
his ass. I owned him.
Duh. I'm looking on the wrong chat.
Pragmatic Crystal, are you posting it? Is that what that is? Is that it? No. You're just posting my channel.
Okay, there you go. Now you can do it. Yeah, I'm over here looking
Give
at
me
the wrong
mods.
chat.
I'll find it later, and I'll go post it in the chat next when I figure it out. When I find the link,
I think pragmatic.
I'll let you know. No, I think that's just my channel again.
Oh, okay.
She's just promoting me because she's a sweetie.
Yeah, and let's see. I want to run down the list. Yeah, Ray Comfort was telling you he had that atheist page, and he said as long as you didn't cuss and you capitalized Jesus and God, that you atheists were welcome. And I'm like, okay, so I played along, and I guess I irritated him enough. So he came on my Facebook and he found some Buddhist thing, and he said meditate on this, and then he blocked me. So that's my Ray Comfort. He went out of his way to block me.
You gotta give me a couple minutes because I gotta go feed the butts.
Well, I was gonna say we've been going about long enough, and we should probably wrap things up here.
All right, you have a Discord too?
I have a Discord. It's Captive Desk. I haven't really done anything with it yet, but there is one that's Captive Desk.
Well, I mean, that's just a good way to like talk to people.
I'm working. Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I'll get there.
Okay.
I set up the basics, so a lot of things going on now.
All right.
I get it.
No,
I get a minute.
Dave,
I'll do it.
Dave.
Hey, I got my green screen. Look at my green screen. I want to hear how great my green screen works.
It looks great. It looks fucking great.
It's working pretty good. I got that down pretty good. So I try to keep improving.
I'm glad you're having.
Stuff,
you're doing Deconverted Man next week. A week from now.
Yep, Deconverted Man's next week.
That's my homeboy.
We're gonna talk about his book.
Around. Dude, I'm
ready. Here's his book, and I've got my notes in there.
I see that. Holy shit!
I'm ready for you, Deconverted Man. So we'll have a good time. He's always a good time to talk with.
Oh, dude! But he's one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, everybody. Next week, same time, 7:00. DM will be over here, and I'm sure we'll be talking about lobsters. He prefers we don't talk about garlic and butter, though.
Can I maybe just suggest like an open room discussion, thing?
We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. We might open it up or something. We'll see how it goes. Because to be honest, I don't have a lot of critiques. I don't have a lot of critiques. We're just going to talk about it because
I just saying
his book is pretty good. I've got to say. Wasn't I was ready to go in there and hammer him hard. And if you want a good read and check out Deconverted Man's book. It's under Dan Green on Amazon. It's a good read. He did a good job. So
Dan Green is the man.
Did a good job. But yeah, appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. And before you go, I want you to share the story about how your dad used to greet the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh, you like that one, did you?
I did. I could you please share that, and we'll go out with that.
All right. So Jehovah's Witnesses used to visit us on the holidays every year on Christmas Day. And my dad got sick of it. So one day he decided, hey, you know what? I'm just going to go and answer in my undies, my whitey tighties. You just strip down to your underwear. You go, hey, what's up? What's up, Johos? What's up, Johos? You want something? You need something, Johos?
And don't chase them off. You want to invite them in, right?
Come on in.
Come on in.
I'll do it. I'll do it right here. It's happening. It's happening live on stream. Reenact.
Uh-oh. Everybody
Come
watch
on,
out.
baby. Come on.
And if you enjoy videos like these, make sure you like and subscribe.
Come on, Joe Hose. Sorry, I wasn't sure.
And we'll see you next time. And Ryan, you got anything coming up, or are we just going to see you around in the chat?
I don't have much coming up. I'm down for whatever, but I love you. I love everyone. I love you guys. Thank you.
We see Ryan around a lot, and so we'll see you around there.
Yeah, I'll be around.
All right, you have a good one, and go take care of the pups. I'm gonna go play with mine too. So, got to enjoy the puppy time before they get too big. It goes fast. So, all right, and I appreciate everybody in the chat. I wanted to say hi to everybody real quick. Of course, Pragmatic Crystal, and like I say, if you didn't hear me, your order has shipped. So, a couple of days should be there. Enjoy. And Asho, always good to see you. Sydney's through. Good to see you. AR, good to see you. And Tux stopping by. Good to see you, Tux. BS Lewis, always good to see you. UC Love. Ember. Nara, good to see you. Brian, good to see you. Aunt Jer, always good to see you. Hillary's emails, good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Good for stopping by. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah. All right. Yeah, there's a lot of people stopping through. Appreciate it. And so we're gonna call it then. And everybody have a good evening. And we'll have we get some other interesting stories Ryan hears about. We'll have him back to share with us, okay?
Dude, we can do this again. We should talk about Doug Wilson. That is my favorite subject, honestly.
Well, I'll look him up and I'll see what's up, and then I'll get back with you about it.
Oh, we're gonna talk about him.
Okay. All right. So again, thanks everybody, and good night, and we'll see you next time.